Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Episode 4, Season 4. My dear friend, Jon Broce, Ugly Roof. Jon, thanks so much for jumping in with us today.
Yeah, man. Excited, dude.
Yeah, so
Lucky Fours, huh?
Season 4. Double 4. Season 4, Episode 4. I love talking about it. This is my favorite piece of content that we create, and I think this is going to be a good episode because you and I can talk for hours, and we've got 25 minutes to get everything in. So let's fire it up with kind of a recap of 2020. And it's been an interesting year for a lot of people. But for business owners, I think that we've really seen the cream of the crop rise to the top in 2020. And the strategic thinkers and the innovators, we've really seen them take a step forward in 2020 with all the different things that we had to face. For you, 2020 has been filled with different things, Ugly Roof being one of them. Just tell me a little bit about what you've been busy doing in 2020, and then we'll kind of dive from there.
So 2020 was a challenging year, right? I mean, with COVID jumping in there. The beauty for us, we were already mobile. Like, we were mobile ready. We already been paperless as far as a contractor goes for a while. Didn't really need an office. So, I mean, our office is still there. The warehouse is there. But, yes, I mean, most of my people actually work abroad. So I got people in Ohio, Kentucky, Florida, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. So our whole process was already ready and built with that. So, but 2020 was kind of a rollover year, right? So we gained some in business, and then we started up Ugly Roof as well as a subsidiary to the business that we're doing now on the roofing side, and just been growing ever since with it, man. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Well, for those that might not know, tell me just a little bit about Ugly Roof, because Ugly Roof isn't just you're kind of in call it the Ohio Valley area there, the Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Yep. Ugly Roof is a nationwide company. Tell me a little bit about Ugly Roof, and then I've got some questions as to, kind of what led you down that path.
Yes. So we had got some back history. I had a roof cleaning company for years, sold it, got back on track. We wanted to have another product offering. So we started about 2 years ago getting back into looking at roof cleaning and other products. And the thing that we found with just roof cleaning alone actually damages the shingles more. And so I didn't want to just go that route only. So we came up with our own pattern basically of refresh, repair, restore. So refreshing is cleaning the roof, repair is doing all the repairs, and then to restore the roof is putting all the soy methyl ester, the oil back into the shingle to make it more pliable and flexible again. So it's just locally and in Florida, because we've got some locations in Florida. And then we just had a high demand with a bunch of people saying, hey, what are you guys doing? We want in. And so we turned it into a dealership as well. So we've been working hard on that the past 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, so and I think it's a great concept, and I think it's really interesting. We've kind of started, I think 2020 was great for this, but this new age of contractors helping contractors. I've heard the buzzword or the keywords of roofers helping roofers out there, but just big picture, contractors helping contractors not being so worried about the guy in their backyard. I think of both of our friend Benny Fisher. He's in your backyard, and you guys are, you don't have that old day of, well, that's my competition, I can't talk to him. Like, it's moving the industry forward. Is that kind of the goal that you had with Ugly Roof? Because that's a unique concept of saying, like, hey, we're a roofer, we also have this Ugly Roof concept, and we're going to turn that into a nationwide dealership helping roofers across the country. Is that kind of along those same lines of roofers helping roofers?
Yeah, absolutely. It came to so when we're in the home, right, talking to the homeowners and, looking at roofs, like most 70% of the time, the roof probably does need to be replaced, right? But there's this 30 to 40% of the time where it doesn't need to be replaced. It might have one tab that's missing. It might have a leaky chimney, and the roof is 10 to 15 years old, but it's lost flexibility and it's not, it's not sealed down anymore. So this became a product that, that's affordable to the homeowner to maintenance the roof, to, extend the life of the roof as well with it. But yeah, I mean, that's the main goal with this is the whole process of what we do with our business model is actually come in and help, like, build out the trailers, deliver it, train it. But there's also more than that too, where I've got the consulting side that's just bred in me. We help with the sales presentations, the actual sales process. Actually, just jump in there and, like, help these guys understand how to pivot from, hey, listen, this could be a rejuvenation or this could be a new roof. Learn how to qualify that. The cool part that we found with our sales team, we've always been decent closers, high 30s, lower 40s with everything. But this past year, we're like 48 to 52% in close rates because my guys now have a product. The homeowner sees it as more of an honest offering. Because if I can either do the $40,000 roof or I can do a $4,000 rejuve, right? Either way, everybody in the middle doesn't look as attractive anymore because we gave you an honest option and an honest inspection and actually break the whole process down. So that's what we like to do, is to bring this to the roofing contractors out there and help them with the current repairs that they're doing. And it's just more of an add-on product, if you will, with it.
Yeah. Well, to me, what you're doing, what always intrigued me with Ugly Roof is I'm a big believer in building relationships. I think, I use the word all the time, but it's so important in the contracting world that you can either develop customers and chase customers, or you can build out relationships and you can have clients. And essentially what you're doing is taking that concept of having clients to another level with Ugly Roof, because we can either do your roof today, or we can have you be our client and we can, do the Ugly Roof rejuvenation, but then we can continually keep you on our radar so that in 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, whatever it is, we're now redoing your roof. And, like, we don't even have to talk roofing. This is for any of the verticals out there, HVAC, get them on a maintenance program where you are at, where I'm at. We've got an AC firing up sometime, early spring, and we've got the furnace kicking in sometime there mid-fall. Make sure that you're doing something to provide value for the client, to that way when they do need a new unit, you're the one that just handles that. You don't have to worry about them shopping around. Is that something you're big on with Ugly Roof, is building out the client, where it's like, hey, we are their roofing contractor. We're always going to be their roofing contractor, as opposed to, well, hopefully I get a customer today and I'll try to chase another customer tomorrow type of thing.
So there's two sides to that concept too. But first thing is, with what we do, is we want to go to the roofing contractor specifically because they have the name, the brand that's in that market, right? So it doesn't need to be our name and brand. It's our process, it's our product, it's our stuff. But at the end of the day, I want Bob's Roofing to be the forefront of the conversation, because that's who has all the trust. Ugly Roof just becomes a product and an ad set at that point. Mm-hmm. When you think about customer retention, so for us, what this did was, when you look at the long haul in roofing, right? So it's typically one and done, unless you're in a high hail market where you do it every 7 years. Like, that's what the average is in those high hail markets. But in the rest of the world, you're one and done as a company. And then what else can you offer that customer? So when you look at the profitability of it, plus doing the right thing to the customer, we look at this as the customer retention tool, but it's also a long-term customer value as well. So it's not just a $15,000 roof, and let's say that you make 10% on it, right? And you're making $1,500 this one time. With this process, you can make that $1,000 to $1,500 3 times. You know what I mean? Because you can extend it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So it just depends on the market and the roof and the age of the roof that you're looking at. But so when you look at that too, it's like the lifetime customer value changes for that roofing contractor. And plus that you're giving them I'll use the word low cost option, right? It's not a cheap option. It's a low cost option that you can give them 5 more years of flexibility. You can go in there and recaulk all the flashings or reflash the chimney, whatever needs to happen, to where you capture that customer. They're happy now. So guess what? Windstorm does pop in. Hailstorm hits in 6 years. Who are they going to call? They're going to call the guy that took care of them on the front end with a low cost option, instead of just selling them a roof that they really didn't need at that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I don't know if you would agree with this, but that same concept can be applied. It's looks different, but I don't care what area of contracting or home services you're in. That same concept can be replicated, whether it's lawn landscaping, pool, any of those things. Like finding out what that process looks like in your vertical, but building that rapport and building that relationship is the key to long-term viability for your company. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you look at other industries, I mean, it's all the contracting industry, but if you look at the heating and air guys, it's just like you said. I had a short stint, basically as a contract to help an HVAC company get their sales up off the ground. But the thing that we did there was it became add-on sales that you could do. It's you sell them a certain type of filter, and guess what? You call them every six months and you drop it off. You know what I mean? So you can have these types of things, whether you're trying to do some HRVs or whatever it is to do the right thing inside that home for the homeowner. But there's add-on sales that you can go with that. But at the end of the day, too, you're taking care of the customer. So I think that is across the board, whether it's plumbing, whether it's whatever, like just being able to get them something of value, now. That way, when there is something major that they need, you're the first person they call. So it's getting in front of them. I mean, we've talked with, a bunch of guys, like I have a conversation with Dave at Dope all the time about intimacy, right? So we talk about, like, you got to be in front of this person 4,000 times before they know who you are. Well, it's 7 to 10 times, right? So when you think about that, this is just another intimate moment that they remember you by. Customers don't remember. Most of the time they don't remember the shingle that you put on there, the name of the color, the name of your company a lot of times, but they remember how you made them feel. And that's the most important part of that, is how you made them feel. And this whole process helps them get to a better place, of trust and comfort. So.
Yeah, and that's the key word right there, is building that trust. You build that trust. They just know, hey, this is the company that's going to take care of my insert whatever home service needs that you're fulfilling. They take care of my roofing needs. They take care of my heating needs, my pool, my landscape, whatever it is. You build that trust. And, I love the 7 to 10 number, John, because while I know the studies say you got to be out in front of them 7 to 10 times before it, finding those ways to make the 1 or 2 interactions very memorable, that can kick out some of those extra, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Like, exactly. I did such a great job that one interaction that maybe that's worth 3 or 4 times what a normal interaction would be worth. So let's take a quick break here, John. I want to jump back. I've had some great conversations with you in the world of selling and like how you present things to homeowners. So I want to dive into that a little bit. So let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with Jon Broce and Ugly Roof.
Hey guys, Jordan here with a quick reminder that you can catch up on all of the episodes of season 4 at companycam.com/taco-4. And while you're there, if you're not already signed up for Company Cam, you can sign up and get 50% off your first 2 months of Company Cam Pro. Again, companycam.com/taco-4.
What's up, guys? Back here, Jon Broce, Ugly Roof. John, when we went to break, we were talking about building that trust and rapport with clients, customers. maybe we got the cart a little ahead of the horse, because, when I think about it, some of the best conversations I have of memory with you, one that really sticks out was we were out in California for a James Hardy event, and while everyone else was enjoying themselves and having a good time, I remember you and I were on the back of bar napkins writing out things and talking through that sales process and being in the home and not necessarily physically in the home, but being in front of that potential customer and helping lead them. Tell me a little bit about your approach to, solving problems. I don't even want to call it sales, solving problems for homeowners and helping them realize that they have a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of areas here that we can go, but I'll just try to be as concise a clear path as possible for you. The main thing that I teach my guys about and other clients is it's all about empathy. It's true empathy, and to build empathy, you got to ask questions. So from beginning to the time that you give a price, I would say that a good salesman, not a great one, a good one should ask a minimum of 50 questions. Things like, just, things that you wouldn't normally think would lead into other items, and then that's the whole process, right? Is asking the right questions, asking deeper, going further into it. So like if they say that, well, hey, I plan on getting 3 estimates, and we appreciate you coming out, but just want to let you know up front, we're gonna get 3 estimates. Oh man, that's great, man. You should always do that. What does that process look like? Right? Are you going to grab all 3 of them, put them on a wall, and throw darts at it? Like, how do you make your decision? And just keep asking questions further and further, because the more questions that you ask without giving answers, people feel like they're being heard, right? But honestly, that you are trying to hear what they're saying so that you know how to help them, guide them down the path that you want them to go down, to make them feel more comfortable based on their answers to your questions that you've asked. So I think that's the key to anything in sales is asking the right questions and being genuine about the questions, building that rapport naturally. Like when you walk up there, I mean, you can see that they got a Steelers flag. I'm going to talk about, hey, is Big Ben going to do good this year? I mean, what do you guys think? Like, you've got to have that natural rapport building, but it's really asking them questions, and people like to hear themselves talk. So when you ask questions, they'll talk. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a big believer that the person this might sound backwards, but the person asking the questions is truly the one in control of the conversation. And from that interaction, if you get to where they're asking you a ton of questions, now you're just kind of on your heels the whole time. And so if you're asking questions and you're asking the right questions and then, piling on those questions, you control the conversation. You get all the answers that you need. You mentioned the 3 estimates thing, and that's an interesting one to me because I'm a homeowner. I'm not a contractor, John. And when I say I need 3 estimates, I know what that means. Right. I'm trying to think in the back of my mind, do I really need to get this done? Or maybe how in the world am I going to pay for this? It's rarely that I truly need to figure out, is this the right company for me? It's something else. Do you find that asking the right questions can usually expose that true concern? Because I'm not going to come to you and say, John, I don't think I can afford to get my roof done. Nobody wants to do that. But maybe that is the root of my needing 3 estimates. I've already sold on you doing a great job. I trust you to do that. But I'm saying to myself, how on earth am I going to figure out how to pay for this? Do you find that asking the right questions helps you uncover the true hesitations that homeowners have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do this every single day. No pun intended. I mean, we trademark that, but yeah, we do it that way fun. But so like just in the beginning, asking stuff like, have you set a budget aside? Is there certain has anybody brought you through the roofing process? That's probably my favorite question I ask. Not that I want to know who's been there, what they've done, but people will just tell you. But it's more of, what have they learned, right? Have they learned about a certain product, a certain this, a certain that? Like, well, I went on the Google sites and found this, and that, and this is what I've learned. It's like, so you start asking the right questions. But back to what you're talking about, whenever it comes down to, okay, so break it down this way. When you wake up with it this morning, Mike, and you see that you got a leak in your roof, you did not wake up and say, "Man, I want to get a new roof today." Nobody has woken up in their life and said, "You know what? I don't like black anymore. I want to go with gray." Right? Nobody does that. That's just not what our industry is. Our industry is more of a response industry. So we have to be honest when we're out there, do a proper inspection, the attic, the roof, all that stuff there, so we can lead them to make the right decision. At the end of the day, the salesman is not the hero. We're the mentor. The homeowner's the hero, and the villain is the guy that's up on the roof or the leaky roof and whatever. But a lot of times, you got to lead them down the correct path of when you call me out, you want to be able to repair this, right? Because you've got a nail in the tire, and you think we can just plug it and be done. But then you go down to National Tire and Battery, and the nail's in the sidewall, and they say, "I'm sorry, but you got to buy a new tire," right? It's the same thing. It's all about education. It's all about showing the customer about what it is to help them down that emotional path. Because emotionally, you don't want a new roof typically, and that's why you start giving out price objections. Right, and so when me as a salesman, me as a company, I'm not doing a good enough job of building that empathy and showing you why that you need the roof, right? Showing what the true urgency is. That's when it becomes, well, I can get it cheaper because I have no value in anything that I've done. So,
yeah, and I see you hit on a lot of key things there because nobody gets up in the morning and, like you said, says I want a new roof. But at the end of the day, anybody that has anything of value to them underneath of that roof, whether it be physical, tangible things or, in most people's cases, loved ones, they want them to be dry and safe and under a good roof. And so, like you said, asking those right questions. I love the question of, how much do you know about the roofing process? Because frankly, if you came to me 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before I started working at Company Cam, I would have said, "Jon, I know absolutely nothing about the roofing process, but I assume it's not going to be cheap to get it fixed." Like that's about the extent of my knowledge was, well, right. I don't want anything bad to happen to my roof because it's not cheap to fix it. And I think asking that question helps you get to the mindset of, well, they don't know much. Let me help make sure that they do understand why I need a roof that, sheds water and doesn't leak and those kind of things and the big picture value of that. I know you're a big believer in offering multiple ways of closing that deal, whether that be ugly roof, I've got this offering, or financing. Have you found that having those other options, like I don't need $40,000 from you today, Mr. Homeowner. What I want to do is make sure that we get this roof to where it needs to be so that everything underneath of it you can feel safe about. Have you found that having the ugly roof or the financing options has really helped that end number of closing a higher percentage of leads?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So everybody calls it good, better, best. We train it as best, better, good. We start at the top and come down, depending on the situation, right? So, if they're in a situation where they absolutely have to have a roof, right? Like there's just no way around it. Like Mr. Jones, can you see this here? Can you see why that this shingle's lifted? Has anybody ever explained that to you? Once we go through that question set, and they're in agreement already of, I got to get the roof done. Because once you ask somebody, here's your pro tip. Once you ask somebody, can you see this? They can't unsee that, right? So that's a pro tip when you want to over an inspection. So anyway, but when you're going through that process, we start at the top and come down. Everything in our company, where we're GF, Master Elite, and President's Club and all that fun stuff, but we sell the Golden Pledge 80% of the time. And it's because we start there. Like it starts on the phone. It starts at the beginning, but you start at the very top option and come down. Every time that you pitch a price, it's $15,000 or as low as $150 a month. You pitch both because at the end of the day, I don't know who I'm sitting in front of. It's just like you said earlier. I'm worried, how am I going to afford this? So do I offend you by only offering you $15,000, and now that your only option is to go to the 401k to pull it out? shame on me because you're going to, plus all the money you lose, right? So I did a disservice by not saying 15,000 or 150 a month. So yeah, so offering an option is the key to everything. Like, because you don't know who you're sitting in front of. Like, they might tell you at the beginning, if you can come in under $400 a month, I'll do the roof with you, right? But that's kind of some red flags because they might not have a good credit, they might not have this, those types of things. But most people are ashamed to say, I don't have the 15,000, John, but I really like you, and I really want to go with you. All I've got is 12,000. You don't have that nurturing conversation at the end because we have pride. We're human beings, so we dig through that pride quickly by just saying 15,000 or 150 a month.
Yeah, and if you don't have those options, and you, like you said, you have that roadblock where they're not going to say, John, I don't have 15 grand to buy a roof today.
Exactly.
Now what am I going to do? Well, let me talk it over with my wife, or appreciate it, we'll get back to you. I still want to get 2 more estimates, or still want to get another estimate. I get one of those objections that I'm a firm believer those aren't true objections.
Well, it's an internal objection. So it's something that you know nothing about, right? It's something that they're struggling with internally, emotionally. Like just like we said, it's most of the time when they start talking about money, it's because they have a set budget of what they literally have liquid cash that they can spend, right? So when you can go in there and go down the seal the deal, as we call it, and you get to the end and say, listen, why don't we do this? It's, true thing at 12 grand, we're at 15,000 to do the golden pledge. Why don't we do this at 18 months of no interest, and not just on the 3,000? I'll do the entire amount at the 18 months of no interest. Take that 12 grand, put it in a CD, make that $3,000 on and over the next 18 months, put it in Bitcoin or whatever it is that they're talking about that day, right? Go make money on it, and then this will actually pay 100% back to you that way. Mm-hmm. So it's knowing when to use the right option with the person based on the information that they give you. Overcoming objections is not rebuttal; it's presenting new information. That's it. It's that simple.
Yeah, because honestly, it's getting to the root of the objection is ultimately your goal as a contractor. And does it work 100% of the time? Absolutely not. But, I hear all the time contractors saying, if only I had more leads. And then I got these marketing guys over here jumping in your inbox saying, well, hey, I can solve that for you. I can get you 25 new leads a day in your market. And I hear the contractors say, they need to leave me alone. I'm like, well, do you want more leads? Well, yeah, I want more leads. Well, let's get our closing number better on the leads we're running, or let's, like you said, increase our ticket sale, like HVAC guys that are out there, and instead of, closing at $400 average ticket, they're doing $650 or $1,000 or $1,500. And, maybe they're doing a water purification system that they, are running at 12 months no interest, and the homeowner's like, you know what, John, I've wanted one of those for a long time now. I didn't think I had the money to buy one. I really appreciate you doing that for me. Like, it really flips the script. And so I love your philosophy on that of presenting options, but asking the right questions to nail down, because it doesn't matter what vertical you're in. I want to solve your problem. And
Correct.
Truly, by having options, I am solving your problem. If all I say is, well, you can write me a check today, or you can write me a check the day we're going to start, but you're paying me in full for this before we start work, well, I'm leaving hurdles in between us and me solving your problem. So finding as many ways to remove those barriers, solve their true problem. I love it. We're kind of running up against time, but I do have one question I want to pose to you. And this is always the toughest question of the interview, but we've had a crazy, 2020 and then first few months in 2021 here. And a lot of contractors have learned a lot. They've started doing things differently. Is there anything that you, as a person, as a business owner, have learned and started doing that you wish you would have been doing for a long time, but you can say, you know what, now that I'm doing this, I'm going to continue doing this for the years to come. I don't care if there's pandemic, I don't care what the times are, this thing that I do in my business is going to stay around for a while?
So the main thing is going to be training. Training your people is the biggest asset that you could invest in. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, but I would say that when you see training pay off, right? So like when you hire new project managers or salespeople or accounting clerk or whatever it is, and you have that position boxed up, ready to go, you hand it to them, and then you train them inside of it, and you watch them be successful and flourish. I think that would be my answer with that in business is like, I'll continue to train as much as I can my own people. In my personal life, I'm going to say, I don't sleep much anyway, but I used to waste a lot of time in the, well, I used to read a lot, so I don't say waste time with that, but I used to read a lot. But now I'm learning to multitask and like read and still go do my hour walk in the morning. You know what I mean? Like something to help you meditate. I don't think that I'll change that because I think that's been a really big influencer into keeping my mind fresh and focused, is just being able to find an audiobook and go for a walk, and like if you get lost in it and you don't even know how long you walked. So that's one of those types of things.
Yeah, I love that. Investing in yourself, making yourself a better person, but then investing in your team and training them. I think, going into a pandemic like we just saw, like I loved moving past it, but I guarantee you the companies that had a good training program and had a team that was well trained handled that working from a remote setting much better than those companies that didn't really have their team fully trained. And, it's kind of just shoot from the hip and, well, we're all in the same office, so if I have a question, I can just ask it. It probably really opened your eyes to inefficiencies in training when you had to remove to remote. And so the fact that you do train well and you have those processes in place, I'm sure that you did see, a lot of dividends from that. So,
yep, I believe we did. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, the people was doing well, and when you go into this year, right? So I mean, I don't measure my sales guys on just numbers, but when you look at our numbers, we're doing pretty well. I mean, we've raised 10% in closing percentages. We've raised, I mean, our target was 8.3 in sales, and we're probably going to do 10 or over 10. We're just on fire with it, and I attain it all back to the continual, constant training. We train twice a week. And people are like, well, that's crazy. Like, if they're professionals and they're professional salespeople, you hire them and let them go. Like, no, that's not how it works. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, anybody that you think of that's been at the top of their game. Tiger Woods used to hit 5,000 golf balls a day. Why? He's the best in the game, right? And Jordan would shoot 500 free throws every day. Why? It's the same thing. So you got to continually train. You got to continually get in there and practice. And that, once you get that down, now that you add in a new play, and now your playbook keeps growing, and then your sales guys are able to close, a ton of different objections. If that's your, end goal is to make sure that they're closing well, practice, man. Get in there and put the time in, the training in there. And if you do, it pays off. That's the main thing, is it pays off.
I love it. And it makes a ton of sense, until I don't know what the percentage is, but until you're hitting a percentage decently close to 100% on closing, you got a lot of practice you can still do. 30 to 40 seems to be kind of an industry standard of the guys that are saying, yeah, we close decent, or in the 30 to 40% range. And I love the concept of saying, imagine if you were at the 50 to 60% mark, and how do I get there? And it's not just by hitting and hoping. It's, training and making better and investing in your team. So
what just like you said a moment ago too, is I need more leads. When I go into another company as a client, I start at the contract signing and work my way back. Right? I don't start at the lead generation and work my way forward. I start at the contract. Like, when you sign the contract, what does this look like? Now, what did you do right before that? And you work your way backwards, because that's where you're making money, right? Leads are leads, and you're going to have good leads, bad leads. Like, I mean, it happens. But, if you're running your sales reps out there and they're running 8 to 10 leads a week, 7 of them are going to be good, right? And they should be able to close 5 of those 7. So that's kind of the way that I look at that, So, but you got to start at the table back. You can't start at the lead generation and go forward. So,
absolutely, I love it. Well, Jon, really appreciate you jumping in with us on Talk About It. Definitely, I didn't realize we hadn't had you on a Talk About It episode yet, but definitely keep us in mind. Season 5, Talk About It. We're going to go big for season 5. Not that we're not going big for season 4, but really enjoyed having you on, and look forward to seeing you down the road.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, Mike.
Yeah. Thanks, Jon.